15. And I've got to talk for a couple minutes anyway before we get to the reason people came here. So John's going to start recording, and I am going to start the introduction. So, hello, everybody. Thank you being here. Thank you for being here so much. Um, uh, my name is Emily Harper. I'm a board member for Cleveland Gift Camp. We also have John Knapp here. He's our board president. And while Give Camp Cleveland is known for putting on an annual weekend style hackathon event to support nonprofits, this year we started S'mores, which are these bite-sized tech talks that we've been having monthly to help nonprofits navigate technologies that can better support their missions. So this is still new for us, but we are so happy to have you here, and it's been great with all of our volunteer speakers so far this year. So, like I have mentioned, we're known for a weekend-long hackathon-style event. Uh, it's a really fun time where we get together in person, and a lot of volunteers show up to help nonprofits build technical solutions. Over the last 15 years, or 15 events, I should say, we've helped over 250 nonprofits. We've had 1,000 volunteers, and labor has totaled about $7.2 million worth of work nonprofits have received as a result of the efforts and the amazing volunteers who continue to show up year after year. Now, if you are a nonprofit looking for some technical support at the event this year, it is being held July 17th through 19th. It will be in Westlake on the Highland campus. But there is also an application process. So that application is opening March 30th. So be on the lookout for an announcement from us linking to the form. We just ask some questions to learn more about your mission, the problem you're trying to solve, what technologies you're familiar with, the ones you're hopefully wanting to incorporate. And we also ask for a verification of 501c3 status. So with all of that, let me get to the reason you all came here today. So Jason Williams graciously volunteered his time tonight to share his expertise in AI technologies and how nonprofit organizations can begin leveraging them to make a greater impact. Jason is a graduate of Oberlin, and he started his own nonprofit where he's held hands-on AI training for children all over the world, and starting to build his own application to help nonprofits navigate. So with that, Jason, I will hand the reins over to you.
All right, thank you. Let me. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Right. So, all right, welcome everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to attend this. So, AI Fluency for nonprofits. We'll just go ahead and get started. So, some additional information about me. Lorraine native, lived in Cleveland for a little bit, so Northeast Ohio my whole life. Oberlin grad, lived in Japan for 3.5 years. While I was over there, I started 2 companies, and over 10 years ago now, I started a nonprofit, a STEM-based K-12 nonprofit that focuses on hands-on project-based programs. So everything from AI machine learning years ago that we were doing to blockchain, nanotechnology, all of the stuff that's starting to gain popularity now. So personally, I've witnessed the transformative power of technology. AI is a tool, but calling it just a tool is like calling the internet just a website. It's reshaping how we find information, how we tell our stories, and how we show up for the people we serve. And I say we because I grew up on the receiving end of nonprofit impact. Organizations like all the ones that are here tonight changed the trajectory of my life. To keep doing that for the next generation, you have to evolve. You have to evolve with the times. All right. So this is the agenda. And it may seem like a lot, but you'll see some real demos, and we end with the game. And I want you, as we go through these slides, this presentation, this isn't about replacing what you do. It's about freeing you and your colleagues up to do more of the work that actually needs you. All right, so this is the lead framework. So this is a simple framework that I created to or professionals adopt AI. So LEAD stands for, as you can see on the screen, learn, explore, assess, deploy, and deploy. Think of it as your repeatable roadmap every time you encounter a new AI tool or a new use case. Run it through LEAD. And so tonight we're going to walk through each stage. All right, so learn. This is where the journey begins. Before you touch any tool, you need to understand what AI fluency actually means and why it matters for your work. Um, and so AI fluency is knowing enough to use AI confidently, critically, and responsibly. You don't need to be technical, you just need to be intentional. And so if you can scope a grant or brief a volunteer, you already have the foundation. All right, so why it matters for nonprofits. Um, Small teams, bigger missions, less room for waste. You're already doing the work of three people. Nonprofits are infamously known to be under resourced, um, and AI isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about taking the repetitive stuff off so you can focus on the work that actually matters to move your mission forward. Uh, Funders, partners, and board members are asking about it. I'm sure it's showing up in grant applications, board meetings, and partnership conversations. You don't need to be an expert, but you need to be able to speak to it. And that's what tonight is for. And staff burnout. And so this isn't a tech problem, this is a capacity problem. Your team is stretched thin. AI can give them hours back every week on work that doesn't require human touch. All right, so these are some organizations and places that you may be familiar with that are currently using AI in some capacity right here in Cleveland. So the Greater Food Bank, um, I won't go through and read all of these. You guys see it on the screen, but a lot of your peers are already using it. Um, and so organizations like this are already incorporated in their work, in their work. And it's not about being on the cutting edge, it's about not being left behind. All right, so explore. Now that you understand the why, let's get into the what. And so I'll show you some real use cases so you can see what AI can actually do for your organization today. So one, this is something easy and fun, headshots. So I took a casual photo and swapped the background to something professional. This took a matter of seconds, a few seconds. So no photographer, no studio, no budget needed. This is something that anyone on your team can do. And this was the prompt that I used. So here we have a document analyzer. So AI is great at analyzing documents and big, long PDFs. And so I uploaded a dense document. Maybe for you, it's a grant guideline. Claude is my personal favorite. Um, and asking for a language summary. Um, And then as you can see from the video, I hope you guys can see the video and see what's being written. And so it's given, I always ask for citations because one of the things that you'll learn is that AI hallucinates and makes things up. So I always ask for citations. Now it's up to you to go verify that, whatever information is on that page. Now, this is still pretty dense. It's high level. This was done by some researchers, the PDF that I uploaded. And so you'll see, I'll, say, respond in layman's terms or something like that. Put in the layman's terms. And then now it's going to summarize it in simpler language. So again, you can read this, have a basic understanding, verify that the information is accurate and true. Voila. All right, next we have text to video, which could be used for social media content, um, onboarding employees, volunteers, all of that good stuff.
Hi, Give Campers. Thanks for signing up for AI Fluency by Jason Williams. In order to have the biggest impact, orgs must adopt AI responsibly.
All right, so that I was only limited to like a certain amount of time. This was created in in Google VO. That's their video, their text to video AI. Google has a whole suite of different AI tools. Um, and so again, no presenter, no camera, no crew, no editing software. So just think about what this means again for volunteers, onboarding new hires, training, or even donor education. You can create professional video content without a production budget. All right, so another thing, building your own apps. Let me show you a couple other apps I made for some other talks. Let me, right, show you guys this real quick. So here's one. So I did another talk and just to get people familiar with AI. So again, you can build your own internal apps or also public facing apps. There's a lot of security things that go into that. But this will just say surface of the moon. This is a Zoom background generator. And so my background, I use this to generate it. And then you can get, real specific and granular if you want to. And then this other one, I'll show you guys. This was a music generator. So here's so if you like lo-fi music, want to study or whatever, this is something that I just created before we got on the call. So pause. All right. So building your own tools, and then I'm personally a fan of Claude Code, and they have all types of connectors. So if you do design like Canva, there's a connect. It connects to Canva, so you can just type in plain English what you want done, and it'll build a presentation for you, and a bunch of other stuff. And so this is what's possible with AI tools. You can build your custom tools for your organization without writing code. And again, keep in mind if you go down this route, you know, keep security in mind. So like rate limiting, authentication, protecting any sensitive data that your app may touch. Now, prompting. Prompting is how you interface with these AI tools. So in order to get an output, to get something done from an AI tool, you prompt it. And a prompt is just, giving it a command or asking a question. Different tools have different prompt structures. So how you would prompt ChatGPT is different from how you would prompt um, Claude. It's different from how you would prompt a video model or a text to image model. But across the board, there are some basics that is consistent. And so this is the skill. Prompting is the skill that makes all of this work. Um, so care, as you can see, context, ask, rules, emotions. And there's all kind of different frameworks. This was something that I came up with. And like I said, that you can get very granular and specific, but just for basic, you always want to give it um, context. So who you are, what you're working on. Ask is the specific task. Rules are constraints. So like length, tone, format. Emotions is how you want the output to feel. Um, and so, for example, um, this slide. So you have a regular prompt. So visit the following website, clevelandgivecamp.org, and write a donor thank you email versus something that's a lot more specific that follows the care. It specified the length, um, the emotion, the ask, all of that. Um, so same task, completely different level of detail. Um, and you want to work AI, so make it work for you. And then here are the outputs that each prompt produced. So the vague prompt gives you like a generic filler. The detailed prompt that gives you something that you can actually use. The quality of your output is directly tied to the quality of your, and so, uh, the right letter that would be better for donor retention, deeper engagement, building those relationships. Um, and know your tools. These are just a few of the many tools. There's a new tool. I believe at one point last year, sometime, I believe it was like over 100, a couple hundred new tools being released every week. So just knowing your tools. Claude, this is my personal opinion. Claude is better for long form writing and coding. So building your apps using plain text or just natural language to create apps for you. Synthesia is a text to video. Also Google VO. There's several of them. There's also something called HeyGen, where you can speak in whatever your native language is in, and it'll translate it real time to a different language. Um, Perplexity. I really enjoy this for research because it gives you citations and links to actual web pages. You can also search academic papers, social media. I believe their focus is on Reddit, and then the web at large. But it provides citations. Midjourney is a text to image generator. They're probably they are my opinion, like the best image generators out there. Um, and like I said, there's a whole lot more. Chat GPT, a whole bunch. But these are the leaders in this space. All right. Now that you've seen what AI can do and how to talk to it, now here's a critical question you need to ask yourself about your organization. Is your is your organization ready for AI? And how do you check its work? All right. So this is a just a quick self assessment. Um, so you know, have you guys discussed AI as a team? You can name one task that AI can do for you. Your team knows which information should never be pasted into an AI. And real quick on that, nothing is private. There have been a few different cases where people have committed crimes and they use their AI chat history um, to arrest them and get them convicted in a few of their cases. I know the one guy who started the fires in California. I forget his name, but he was generating images on ChatGPT that had flames and some other stuff in it that was a red flag, and they ultimately used that to um, arrest him. So nothing that you put in here is private. So um, personal data, anything that you don't want the world knowing, do not put it in there. Um, so that's keep that in mind because there's been numerous stories of there was a Samsung uh, engineer or executive that put some proprietary. He was trying to find bugs in the code. He pasted the some proprietary code into Chat GPT, and now it's forever part of their training data. So just assessment. If you yes, Lydia, you have a question?
I do have a question. Is that also true even if you don't sign in? Like I use Chat GPT and I don't sign in. I just
One that there's still a record of it.
Mhm.
Two, there's a research paper that came out within the past couple of weeks on how AI has been able to identify people without you know, identifying stuff, looking at like the writing style and a bunch of different um like not directly connected to you information and data. And so if you did something illegal, they'll figure it out. But
Mhm.
as far as like your personal information, because again, like if you're still using it, it's still being tracked and kept somewhere. It's still being used as training data. So if you put a bunch of personal information from your organization in there, that's going to be a part of the training data, and you don't know how it's going to come out. And then also, I mentioned security. These that's what they call large language models. They're hackable. There's numerous incidents where people have hacked these, Chat GPT, Claude, Gemini to uh to pull out information, um, sensitive information. And so yeah, even if you use that, still be mindful of what you put in there. So whether you're logging in or not, be mindful because there is a record of it.
Thank you.
Um, and so we'll continue. So, you can explain to a funder how you use AI or would use it. And you have someone on staff that is willing to experiment with this. And so when you see the score ranges there, if you have at least a two, you're more ready than you think. All right. Again, AI is a first draft, not a final draft. AI is a first draft and not a final draft. So no matter how good the output looks, it's a starting point. You are the editor, fact check it and make the final decision. Um, Numerous cases of there were a couple different lawyers that I read about who were disbarred because the AI they used hallucinated cases and case numbers, and they didn't go through and check it, and they presented it in court and was called out on it. I'll show you some examples that I personally experienced. Um, it's design. It's like they say a con man, or a con person. The con stands for confidence. That's how they're able to get over on people. Same thing with these AI tools. They're very confident, but they can be very wrong. So there's so many stories of uh, people just taking the AI as, the output as is without digging deeper, verifying resources, and just doing a little research. All right, now, how do you assess AI's outputs? So here's a framework for it called FACTS. So factual is what it claims true. Can you verify it? The audience, who, is it targeting the right audience? How your correspondence with a donor versus a funder versus a volunteer versus staff is going to differ. So is the audience right? Uh, you know, Consistent. Does it sound like your org and not a robot? Tone. You can also specify the tone. You want it to come off as happy, sad, sarcastic, professional, whatever. Um, and sources, again, cite sources. If you use it, ask it to cite sources. Because it makes things up. And unfortunately, because of how these models are um, built, the logic and the type of math involved in it, they said that hallucination will always be a problem. So this isn't anything that you can, really get away from. So it's always, for now, going to be a part of these different AI tools, specifically these large language models. So like the Chat GPTs, the Claude, the Google Geminis. Um, so again, AI can get things wrong. It hallucinates. The data is very biased. There's context wrong outputs. And so I'll show you, we'll go through some of the stuff and talk about each one. So AI getting it wrong. So I do talks and workshops all the time. And so from a previous workshop, um, it was with local governments and some nonprofit groups. And this one's a little over a year old. But as you can see on the screen, I was asking for, provide me with nonprofit or government agencies that use AI in content creation. The highlighted, it says the city of Los Angeles, they have an AI power tool called SAM, social media analysis and monitoring. I was like, oh, great. Now I could have took that and presented some, you know, lies, but, can you cite the source for the city of Los Angeles? Forgive that misspelling. Um, this is how ChatGPT responded. I apologize for the confusion, but it appeared that the specific example I provided regarding the city of Los Angeles and the SAM tool is not accurate. I couldn't find a credible source to back up that claim. And then it said the city of Albuquerque uses an AI driven platform called OneABQ. And as you can see on the screen, it even gave me a website. I clicked the link, it didn't work. And then I responded, I didn't find the relevant information for OneABQ. I apologize for the confusion earlier. I appreciate your diligence in verifying the information. Here's another example related to government agencies. Now that one I was able to verify, but we had to go through that a couple times to, find something truthful and accurate. So again, these LLMs will lie to you and they just sound very confident doing so. Um, Now with AI, so we have something called another AI is just a very broad term. There's a bunch of, machine learning, deep learning, neural nets, all of this stuff. There's an aspect of AI called computer vision. So you think of driverless cars, facial recognition. This study was done by King's College in London, and driverless cars are worse at detecting children and darker skinned people. So if you're black or brown or a child, you're more likely to be hit and killed by a driverless car or misidentified. There was an incident in 2019. Amazon used to have a facial recognition um, software called Recognition with a K, and it misidentified New England Patriot athletes um, to criminals. Um, and again, mostly it was mostly black athletes. And so the bias is it's inherent. It's because of the training data. So again, a lot of these tools with the computer vision, for example, if you have 100 images trained on middle-aged white men, which one of these researchers said that is really good at recognizing middle-aged white men, but then only 10 people who weren't white or weren't male is going to have difficulty recognizing anything that doesn't fit the majority of the training data. And to make matters worse, what a lot of companies are doing is they're using synthetic data. So data that's already, biased and contaminated, oh, we'll just model that. And so again, these systems are inherently biased. So keep that in mind. Context rot. Context rot is the longer your conversation goes on with uh, these AI chatbots, the worse the output gets. So just like with human memory, and it does a really good job to remember the beginning and the end of something, but it falls off in the middle. And so it can get, details mixed up, forgotten. Um, and so keeping it keeping it fresh or starting new conversations. And then there's ways to do that. If anybody is interested, I'll have my contact information at the end. But then there's ways to do that to manage it. And then they lack real-time knowledge. So most of these models, they have a knowledge cutoff date. They don't know what happened, you know, last week, for example, unless they search the web. Um, but again, that's why they always have to be trained so often. There's usually a cutoff date. Um, and so again, if you're asking about, grant deadlines, policy changes, or breaking news, verify it independently or use something like Perplexity that actually cite the sources, but also go to the source and verify it and make sure that it's a credible source. And this matters for your organization because both these fail silently. AI won't tell you it forgot your instructions. It's designed to be helpful, so it's going to continue to be helpful. Um, but it will give you outdated or misinformation. All right, deploy. So you've learned, explored, and assessed. Now let's talk about where all this is heading. So agents, AI agents. So if you've heard that term, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. NVIDIA just did a big release. There's these AI agents, and what AI agents are. So how you interact with ChatGPT. You ask it to write your email, it writes the email, you copy it, paste it, hopefully edit it before you send it. Uh, AI agents, you ask it to write an email, it'll write the email for you, find the person, and send it off to them automatically. And so there's tools like OpenClaw. I don't know how many of you have heard about that, but that's been for those in the AI community, even outside of it a little bit. There's been like this huge craze. Uh, OpenClaw is an example of an AI agent that takes action on its own. So before, say if you want to come up with a social media marketing plan, before it would spit out a over the next 7 days, post these, make these type of posts. Now it's going to post it. You can look at the feedback and engagement, make adjustments, and keep doing it automatically by itself. And so we're moving from tools that you prompt to actual teammates. And that's a you know different issue in and of itself. Um, but this is where we are. And so the big thing now is AI agents. And again, these are, like AI tools that take action. So not only not just give you a response, but it's going to take action. And there's all kind of stories of, you know, some wild things happening. I'll tell you guys one real quick. So one guy set up his open claw and he had prompted it to make like $100,000 in whatever the time frame. His AI agent had access to his credit card and some other tools. That's what they call tools. And so it purchased a website for like $3,000, and then it bought this Alex Hormozy course, which is like this like business influencer on social media for like $4,000. So it spent around $7,000 without this guy knowing. And it said that he'll have a return on investment within like uh, 90 days or something like that. But we're in a space now where these tools are taking action on their own. And so there's been a bunch of other um, wild stories. But so, you know, you prompt, AI responds. Now we're in the era of you prompt, AI executes, which also shows the importance of prompting. Um, Now, this isn't the end, but um, I have some resources. So you scan that uh, QR code. I'll put the link in the chat as well, and I'll have resources. So like the presentation, and then there's also um, Anthropic, the company behind Claude, which was started by former OpenAI or ChatGPT engineers. They have a AI Fluency for nonprofits, a free course. Uh, OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, they have a AI for nonprofits course, which again tips, tricks, strategies, things like that. And Microsoft has a similar AI training as well. Um, so one second here. And so for those of you, if you're on your phones and can't scan the QR code, I put my website uh, in the chat. And so just uh, click on there, sign up for the email, and then by tomorrow, whoever signs up, I'll send you the slides and the additional information. Okay. All right, now I said I had a game for you guys. So this is what I'll do. I don't know. Just real quick, just put a one in the chat if you are familiar with Kahoot. If not, if you're not familiar with it, put a two. If you're familiar, put a one. Okay. So, okay, we got some ones, a couple twos. Okay, a lot of twos. Okay, all right. So this is what we'll do. We'll do a practice round. I have a practice round set up for everyone. Um, hold on, let me get my windows mixed up here. Okay. All right. So this is how this works. There'll be a code on the screen. Oh, hold up. No, classic. All right. Now, okay. So I'll put this. I'll put this link in the chat, and you're going to click that link. I just put it in the chat. You put it as game pin 468-4046. You can use your real name, nickname, whatever. This is just a practice round. How this works is that the first one, not only the first one to answer the question, but the first one to answer it correctly, the more points you get. So if Megan and Sarah both answer the same question correctly, but Megan answered before Sarah, Megan will get more points. And so what I'll do, if you want to experiment, I'll give you guys, say like about 10 more seconds for those who want to participate. This isn't mandatory. It's something, mix this up a little bit. And again, this is going to be the practice round. All right, that's the timer. So we'll get started. And how this works is that it's going to ask a question. You'll see options on your screen. You pick what you think is the correct answer. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I just realized I'm in the wrong view.
I was just about to say you're sharing the there we go.
Good job. So you're going to hit the corresponding. Yep, you guys got it. All right. All right. So Katie's in the lead right there. All right. Next question. What is the first letter of the alphabet? AWZX. All right. Last one. And that's it for the practice round. Jason Williams is the bestest ever. Best as ever. All right, I should give y'all some bonus points there, whoever put best as ever. All right, so this is how it works. So third place, Emily H. Katie. And first place is John. Way to go, guys. All right, so that's the practice round. I have just leave that. This one for you that I will share. Tino Island. Okay. All right. Sharing the right one. So you can click the same link, and then I'll put the pin in the chat. Okay, thanks, Emily. Um, oh yeah, so we're not just waiting. We'll go 10 seconds for anybody else that wants to join, and the timer goes off. We'll go ahead and get started. 2, 1. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. So you will pick which picture is real. All right. So, okay. Most of you got that. Okay. All right. Oh, man. I would fool a lot more of you. You guys are pretty good. Okay. That one, see, now it's getting a little more difficult. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. And I think this is the last one. Dead split. Let's see. Congrats, Joanna. Congrats, John. Who got the top spot? John. Another John. Okay, congrats, John M. Normally, like if we were in person, I'd have like some kind of like chocolate or trinket or something to give away. All right. We're gonna. Okay, let me go.
Looks we're moving into Q&A now, right, Jason?
Yeah. Let me pull this back up. Okay. Um, Q&A. All right. So, well, so there were a few of those that were hard, and that was the whole point. So, look how hard that was. The line between real and AI is getting thinner every day. A lot of these models have improved so much this over the past year and a half. There was a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and the first one that came out, I believe, it was like a year and a half ago. You can tell it was all fake, and you can tell they redid a few of those videos, and it's almost indistinguishable from reality. Um, and that's exactly why everything we covered tonight matters. And so, just again, a lead recap. So, in adopting AI for your organization, you know, learning what AI fluency is, exploring using these tools. A lot of this stuff you can start tonight or within the week. Assessing your readiness and assessing the output, and deploy it. So again, it's now evolving. So the more that you're not using it, the further you're getting behind because other organizations, other people are using it. And so I just want everyone to pick one thing from tonight, and try it, you know, maybe not before the end of the week, but within the week. Um, and that's how fluency starts. Um, so You know, nonprofits that thrive in the next 5 years won't be the ones with the biggest budgets. They'll be the ones willing to learn. And so, do we have any questions?
Looks like we've got a couple hands raised. Sarah first.
Okay, Sarah.
So first of all, Jason, thank you. This was fun and entertaining. But that's my question. So I run a small nonprofit. We are a one on your questions and surveys. And I think what I'm most worried, so we're just beginning this process. Um, should I look at a paid subscription to be able to keep, so if we wanted to use it for grants, I think it's probably our easiest or like the lowest hanging fruit to help
Mhm.
run more grant applications. Do we have a paid subscription? Will that help with privacy? Because we've got to dump in our personal stuff about it. If when we're writing grant applications, we're going to have to put in proprietary information in order to be able to write an effective grant. Do I have my like free personal account while they're trying to do it? Do I try to come up with a corporate account? Would a paid one help us with the privacy part?
So, and so there are different tiers of, I think privacy overall, but the paid ones, there is some more privacy, um, like guards in place. $20 a month. That's usually where the premium subscription starts. So I don't know what tool you're looking at, but $20 a month, you can say, hey, we're gonna try this for the next 1, 2, 3 months. So anywhere from 20, 40 to $60. We'll try this and see how it works. But there's also ways, now this is more advanced, but there's also ways where you can use something like they call it a RAG, a retrieval augmented. I forget what the G stands for, but basically you upload your knowledge base, so all the documents, emails, everything about your organization, and then um, it has that to pull from, and so that reduces hallucination. that reduces it. It doesn't completely eliminate it. But I would, if you're able to, a $20 investment, because that's what you could just get just a personal premium plan. You don't need to get like a team one yet. Well, you are the team, so
Well, no, because I mean, I've got 18 staff members, so
oh, okay, yeah. So look, I would just play around with it. I wouldn't just go dive all in. I would, you know, one, two accounts, get familiar with it. And again, I put my email, not my email. I'm sorry, my website in the chat, and you can send me a message on there, or uh, sign up for my mailing list, and I'll follow up with you. But I think it would be worth the investment to go ahead and start. Um, like I said, they start at $20 a month. You don't need to get the super expensive plans. They have different plans that go up to like a couple $100 a month, a few $100 a month, depending on the tool. Start small. That's
and for grant writing, which one would you recommend to start with?
I'm biased towards Claude, Anthropic's Claude. I'm more biased towards that. So it's like, what is it, Anthropic or Claude.ai is the website. Um, yeah, Claude.ai. I'll put it here. So as far as writing, long form writing, that you still need to massage it and give context and background and things like that. Um, So yeah, and I'm actually working on a tool that does that for you. So again, nothing is ready made. You're still gonna have to review, verify, all of that good stuff. But I think that'll be a good starting point.
Okay, thank you.
And then I see Leonard.
Hey, Jason, great presentation. Thank you so much. Question for you. I've kind of adopted my own agents, but wondering. I also wrote like a code of ethics for the agents.
Yeah.
Of what the expectation is of not drifting, of how I want tone, where they can pull data from, what's acceptable, what the framework should be. Is that something that you recommend? And I have multiple agents. I feel like from nonprofit I started to work to you know dietitian, all that. Is there a framework or a guide that you have or that you've used for writing a code of ethics, or do kind of do you think it's a good idea in general? I guess just give me your thoughts in general about a code of ethics, giving your AI agent a code of ethics.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because again, you're giving it a set of instructions to follow. Now, will it be perfect? No, but it definitely helps giving it context, giving it like you said, a code of ethics. And speaking of that, that's something that I am, and that's also why I'm also biased towards Anthropic's Claude because they have something called it's a constitutional AI versus ChatGPT's reinforcement with human feedback. So think of it like this: Claude is like you reading the instructions on building a bike and teaching yourself how to ride. So it has these inbuilt um, values, and actually they just updated it. Like shoot, within the past, I want to say like 2-3 weeks around there. Um, and versus Chat GPT, which is similar to your mom or dad or parent or whoever helping you ride a bike. They're both trying to achieve the same thing, they just do it differently. And the fact that these tools, they you're using natural language, so giving it a set of instructions to follow, that is definitely helpful. That can also be looked at as a guardrail. So I don't know if how many of you were following, but within the past week, maybe about 2 weeks now, uh, Chipotle has a chat bot on their site, Pepper. I remember, they messed up my order a couple times. I had to talk to Pepper. Um, when someone was placing an order, they said, before I order I'm trying to figure out this. It was a coding problem. Matter of fact, let me pull this up. And it responded, it answered the coding problem correctly. Like it came up with some kind of like Python script or something. The thing is, it's supposed to just order, you're supposed to just use it for, ordering food or complain or, something to that effect. Um, I just want to just show y'all this real quick. So the Chipotle chatbot. So they asked them, I want to order a bowl, but before I can eat, I need to figure out how to write this Python script. And it responded. It's not supposed to do that. So one, having those guardrails or those instructions or what you call the code of ethics is definitely helpful. There are some other things they could have done as well too, but so in short, I said all that to say, yes, I think it is, you giving it, because the code of ethics is just a set of instructions um, to, for the AI, for the agent um, to follow. So that's definitely helpful. And then you asked about what would I use for the skills. Um, uh, 1 second. I'll put this link in the chat. So Anthropic, they have a guide to building skills. So again, that's a good way to also manage the memory because I mentioned it doesn't have memory. There's different tools and things that people are making, but using like a markdown file. So have your code of ethics if you're using Claude, but this would work with other ones as well. But having your code of ethics in a markdown file with those instructions in it. So every time you launch an agent, hey, this is the baseline, this is what you need to be mindful of. And so yes, in short, yes, it's helpful. And two, the complete guide to building skills for Claude, I think it'll be helpful.
No, I appreciate that. To your point, I actually have an agent called the architect, which builds all the other agents because it has like the master code of ethics, and so
Yeah, so that would be, that's an agent building sub agents. So
Right,
all of that,
right.
that's where we are. So and having multiple working for you at a time, that's that's great. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
I got it from an IT friend. He works at a pretty large company, and so he was talking about how he did that. I was like, oh, dude, that's so smart.
Yeah. And so and just make sure, yeah, and you have that as part of their like a Claude file or a soul, like like your soul. They actually have a soul markdown, which is like the essence of your agent. So I think that's great. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments, concerns, suggestions? No, I hit everything.
It was a lot of good information, so it's a lot to consider. And you shared some resources to give people a head start. So, Jason, I want to thank you again so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We had an amazing turnout for this session on a Thursday night. So, thank you everybody for being here. But before I let you go, I just have a little give camp wrap up. Uh, Let me take over the presenting. So if you liked this event, we have a couple more coming up that we've scheduled. So next month on Saturday, April 18th, that will be a morning session. We're going to have Brenda Malone speak about search engine optimization. So how do we get your website to show up more often when people search for it, how we make you easier to find, how we make it easier for volunteers, the people you need to donate, and the communities you serve. How can you get them better find you online? And then May is Merchant Services with Catrice Williams, where she's going to go over how to leverage technology for advocacy, education, and resources to help promote your organization. So if you're interested in those, I'm going to drop some sign up links in the chat just a minute here. Or you can, join our newsletter on givecamp.com. So there's some long form links, and then third link at the very end. If you have some kind of technical expertise on a platform or an approach to technology or organizational change management, we would love to hear you. We've got some ideas. The types of talks we typically look for right here, and we have a QR code where you can scan to apply. I dropped the link in the chat just there. Oh, John, did I say givecamp.com, not org?
I'm not going to correct you. You did great.
We givecamp.org because we are actually a nonprofit, a 501c3. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. We're gonna take a look at the recording once the call is over, and hopefully have some snippets of this conversation and Jason's resources up on our social media that we can start building a knowledge base. So access it when they need. John, anything else you would want to mention?
Thank you very much again, Jason. From all of us, you got a bunch of emojis that kind of fired off there at the end. Thank you for your time and your expertise and for sharing that with people openly.
Yeah, I just hope it was helpful and practical for everyone. So,
all right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your evening.
Everyone.
all right, y'all have a good evening.